Welcome to Research Talk. In this video, I'm going to talk about another method of ensuring high level of trustworthiness in qualitative research. And this method, we call it rich and thick description. Rich and thick description. What it means? It means that as a qualitative researcher, when we collect data, we provide a very rich and thick description of the phenomenon that we are investigating. So in qualitative research, one of the key methods of data collection is interviews. Mostly those interviews are semi-structured interviews or unstructured interviews. We also do observations a lot as part of our data collection. So, or maybe like focus group interviews as well. So when we are conducting interviews, one way to ensure high level of trustworthiness is that our interview protocol is well developed. What I mean like well developed? It means that I have spent considerable time to determine what questions, what open-ended questions should I ask, what probing questions should I ask to ensure that I get a very rich and thick description of the phenomenon that I am trying to understand, that I am trying to collect data on. If my questions are not helping me to really get deeper into this phenomenon, then obviously that will be a question mark on the trustworthiness of this study. So this is very, very important thing to remember, that as a qualitative researcher, spend considerable time thinking about your interview protocol and make sure that you have all those questions and you have put them in a right order, with also some probing question which will lead to more deeper understanding of the phenomenon. Another thing to ensure that you have a very rich and thick description is provide transcripts of your interviews. So when you record your interview, you transcribe them before you do the data analysis. And when you provide a transcript to the reviewers, by looking at the transcript, we can determine how rich and thick description this interview entail. And that is directly related to our interviewing skill as well. A qualitative researcher has, I think this is really important, that we develop that interviewing skill. Interviewing does not mean that I have a set of questions and I sit with this person and say, okay, let's start with the question 1, question 2, question 3. And so that's in an interview, but I don't think that interview is going to provide a rich and thick description. A rich and thick description can only happen, first of all, when I develop a connection, a trusting relationship with the person I'm interviewing. When the person I'm interviewing is very comfortable in this whole process of engagement with me. So a researcher, an interviewer should spend considerable time thinking about how to build this connection so that I can have a deeper, rich and thick description from this person from whom I'm collecting the data. And there are many ways to do that. One way that in phenomenology they follow is they have multiple interviews. Multiple interviews. What it means is, in general, you see in qualitative research, researchers have their semi-structured questions or unstructured protocol, and then they sit with the person and have a sort of discussion, sort of interview with the person, just one interview generally lasting, let's say, half an hour to 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And that's good. You can collect some good data. However, multiple interviews helps you to get even deeper understanding of the phenomenon you are investigating. So what I means is like you meet the same participant multiple times. So you have interview 1, interview 2, interview 3. Now in these 3 interviews, you can have your specific questions that you want to cover in interview 1, and then interview 2, and then specific questions for interview 3. As you interview this person multiple times, 3 times, it gives you time and space to develop connection, the trusting relationship with this person, and the person also get enough time to really dig deeper into their experience and share their innermost experiences about the phenomenon that you are investigating. So multiple interviews provide us that opportunity to really have a very rich and thick description of the phenomenon you are investigating. So rich and thick description is a very important method used by qualitative researchers, and what we do in this method is we focus on our data collection process, and we make sure whatever phenomenon we are investigating, we have a very rich and thick detailed description from the data sources. It could be a person, it could be documents, could be observation data. Whatever data we collect, it should have a very detailed description of the phenomenon that we are doing. And that's why we call it rich and thick description. In fact, oftentimes when I review a qualitative research, I ask for the transcript. And the reason I ask for it, by looking at the interview transcript, I can determine if the researcher has done a satisfactory job in ensuring that they have collected a rich and thick data, in-depth interview about the phenomenon they are investigating. So rich and thick description, you can utilize this method by ensuring that you are spending considerable thought and time in devising your interview protocol, and also ensuring that you are, during the data collection process, during interviewing process, you are providing enough time to your research participant, you develop a very trusting relationship with them, and get a detailed, descriptive detail about the phenomenon that you are investigating. So that's briefly about rich and thick description method that we use in qualitative research to ensure high level of trustworthiness. Thank you.